Welcome to this segment, the interactive session. But before then, I would like to inform you that you can join us in the section by calling these numbers for your contribution and questions: 0700 I'll take it again: 0700 Fabian, you have the other numbers?
Yes. 091 425 71214. I repeat, 0916 25 71214.
Service recently directed the immediate suspension of the code 846 vehicle valuation system in pursuant to its powers under the Customs Act 2023 and in alignment with government effort to modernize customs administration. So they say. This didn't go down well with the stakeholders in the industry, as the officers have already carried out the directive without giving them some days of readjustments. This gave rise to some kind of agitations by the stakeholders at the ports. Now, the question here today is: was the due process followed before the announcement of the suspension of the code as provided in SEMA Act, Section 28, 29, and 30? What is the resultant effect of this move on clearance of cargoes? These and many more we'll be looking at today. With me in the studio to discuss this is a seasoned custom licensed freight forwarding agent and the CEO of a reputable company, Dr. Ifeanyi Emoh, Island Chapter of the National Association of Government Approved Freight Forwarders, NAGAF, and as well as MD, CEO, Marijo Global Services Limited. Sir, you're highly welcome. All right, let's not just give us something very important because it concerns clearance of goods, clearance of cargoes at the port. Now, sir, for the interests of our listeners out there, kind forces of the Nigerian Customs Service stands for? Thank you.
All right, being here today. The 846 code is a clearance code generated by the Nigerian Customs Service to ease trade facilitation. In the vehicle section, there are standard VIN and non-standard VIN. And what do they mean by standard VIN? Standard VINs are vehicles you can get their vehicle identification numbers from the year of manufacture, particularly vehicles coming from America, Canada. Then the non-standard ones are the ones coming from European countries, Asian countries, where you cannot detect or bring out the year of manufacture of those vehicles from the VIN numbers. Customs management, in their wisdom, decided to create this code 846 to make way for revenue generations on these same vehicles where their years of manufacture cannot be determined from their VIN numbers. These are the two alternative platforms that have been going on in revenue generations for motor vehicles clearance in the port.
Okay. So I'm sure I understand that you've been having meetings with the CSC Tinkan Line Port.
Yeah.
So what reasons did they give to you that gave rise to this new directive?
The 846 code came from Customs headquarters, from the Deputy Controller General of Trade and Tariff, Madam Caro. Her reason being the abuse of the use of the code 846 by the trading community. He now directed all commands to immediately stop the use of that code without making room for consignments that has already gone on the code up to a certain point of delivery. As we speak now, there are vehicles loaded on trucks that are parked at the gates of the terminals to exit when this order came. everything is now stranded in the port, particularly those terminals that deal mostly on vehicles. So the order came, and the controllers just have to obey because it's an order from above. But we are asking that issues of this nature, there should have been a timeline, a grace period should have been given, so that people that are trading on this code should be able to retract or retrieve their steps. People that are not getting it right should get it right within that grace period before the total stoppage. But the stoppage came abruptly. This has ended up creating more problems than the problems they want to solve. Now the trading communities are complaining, the terminal operators are complaining, consignments are not moving out, their new ships are coming, no spaces to offload, and demurrage is accumulating. And at the end of the day, whatever thing that happened, these consignments must go back to the shipping companies and terminal operators to pay additional demurrages, which has already added additional value, additional cost to the consignment. Looking at what our president is trying to do under his program, Renew Hope Agenda, we expected that Nigerians should be given a little bit lease of life to help the economy to grow. The dollar rate is not steady. It's fluctuating, always on the increment of increasing trend. This has added additional cost to the trading community. Now, coming to impose a higher VIN is totally not going to do the country and the economy any good. Because at the end of the day, the efforts the previous government has put in place to make sure the smuggling of vehicles into the country has reduced minimally, we have to increase again. Because as long as Nigerians are concerned, the borders are not fully secured, this vehicle will be diverted to neighboring countries and duties will be paid there. Those countries would have appreciated those values. And at the end of it, same vehicles will be smuggled into this country, thereby making us lose. So we're now asking the government to relax this policy, give a grace period, so that consignments that are already there should be allowed to exit the port. Then the custom management, I know customs are just implementing this program. Most of the directives comes from Federal Ministry of Finance. They should look at these policies critically, look at the prevailing situations at the port and in Nigeria itself, and be able to put in a value that Nigerians can afford to come with. In the clearing community, we have two values. One comes from government, and that is called maximum revenue. But the trading community are asking for collectible revenue.
So what do you mean by collectible revenue?
Collectible revenue is revenue that is possible to collect.
Okay.
For instance, you can have a vehicle, Toyota Corolla 2010 model. The market value out there is less than 8 million, 9 million. But with this VIN value system, the custom duty you will see in the system alone might be close to 10, 12 million. How would they be able to cope if after paying such value for such vehicle, in which market are they going to sell it? It is still going to go around to the masses. So we are asking the government to have a rethink on that VIN situation and try to balance up duty collections on vehicles on the irrespective of where they are coming from, America, Europe, Asia. If they are going to assign values to a 2010 vehicle, let it be uniform for all the vehicles, except the luxury cars, high value luxury cars. Those ones are, because those ones are not available for all Nigerians.
So this is your stand on this?
That's my position.
And the position of other freight forwarders?
Yes.
Okay. It says that the 846 valuation framework was introduced as a digital and standardized system for determining customs value for non-VIN, okay, imports. in line with Section 24 to 30 of the Customs and Exercise Management Act, which empowers Nigeria Customs Service to implement fair, uniform, and transparent valuation methods. But, however, there's a clause here. The implementation has been plagued by manual intervention and excessive human oversight. I don't know how you look at this, leading to widespread inefficiency and trade distortions. What's your take?
Yes, the problem still arises from the customs because they are the arbiter, they are the originators of all these problems. 846, to my good understanding, was created to enable vehicles with non-standard VIN to assess value.
Okay.
And these values are assessed indirectly, manually through the customs unit of valuation. But if they want to correct these anomalies, they should be able to marry the values that are obtainable, payable in the system, so that nobody needs to go through any manual process in getting values. If these same values that we are managing to pay, in as much as they might not be what government expects, but they are reasonable, the government, via the customs valuation unit, should put them in the system if they really want to minimize human contact in this area. Because by the time there are human contacts, that's where the corruption sets in. There must be distortion of information, there must be some of privileges, and the trading communities will always take advantage of that.
Okay, what do you say about putting this new system implemented?
Yes, implemented, there will be no need for multiple alerts. That's what we are saying. But if not well implemented, that this section will assign value to you, the same Nigerian custom valuation unit. The other section is telling you that this value is not acceptable. The other section is telling you this value is low. These are under the same umbrella of the customs. And even at the end of the day, you are through with this consignment. On your way out there, the federal operation units are there waiting for you. They are the same customs unit. Why are what embarrassment are there customs litigation? We advise that they centralize these values, reasonable values that the Nigerians can afford to pay. Nobody, I'm very convinced that the trading communities will comply. We love complying with government policies as long as it has a human face. We comply. If they say pay for this XYZ and you pay, there's no need for other units raising eyebrows. But when there is no standard, that is where other units will raise eyebrows. And come to look at it, the same customs on that table that gives you this value, tomorrow he changes to the other unit. He starts talking like people on that same value, on that same side. So it looks as if we are going back and front. So we are advising the government, to the custom unit, to standardize values from whichever year to a certain range of years should pay this value. Let SUVs have their values, let sedan cars have their values, let buses have their values according to the year of manufacture, irrespective of where you're coming from. A truck coming from China will pay lower value compared to a truck coming from America. These are where that distortions comes in. And the system is not fully prepared to pick up these discrepancies. But they can do that manually. If you say a truck should pay this, irrespective of your source of origin, there will be no need for discrepancies any longer. So they are the one giving room for these appearances.
Okay, this is where we call it a day to this edition of the program Nagav Kagos. We promise to bring you an interesting package next Friday. Just make sure that you'll be there waiting for us, because it's going to be an interesting moment. From me, the studio, Ruth Sunday, and from Henry, my brother on the council, from Fabian also, and Rani, It is good afternoon.